phone this week.
Start for Trice. That's Chase, and what a start for Cincinnati. And he has the football. It's a move on. Bijan Robinson, he's got a hand. His first touchdown. Gibbs out of the backfield right away. Oh, yeah, there's no question that he was grabbed. They got ridiculous. They got Gibbs one-on-one with Andrew Van Ginkel in space, and that was it.
And this is, again, it's man-to-man. It's one-on-one, and he's underneath. He loses his balance. Block Bowers is one of those guys that has a huge, and this is...
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Week 14 live start sit with the Fatboyz Dynasty podcast team presented by the Fantasyholics. I'm Bo. That is Brant. Brant, Week 14 for a lot of leagues. Playoffs have started. For other leagues, it's the last week to make that final push to get over the line. How you feeling this Sunday morning, my man?
Feeling good. As you and me talked, I am a little bit under the weather, so if I got to step away for a minute, guys, I apologize, but I will be back. I'm going to fight through this the best I can to help you guys get into the playoffs or make your first playoff push. I'm feeling really good. I like the slate of matchups we got this week. It looks real nice. And not a whole lot of weather to discuss this week either. We do have some snow in one of the games, and it's still yet the highest line of the week. I'm especially excited for this week because I'm actually not comfortable in about half of my leagues where I'm sitting here going, hold on. I don't know if I'm making playoffs this year. I've been up and down all year. So I'm actually going to enjoy this week a little bit more than I probably want to, but I'm going to enjoy watching it go up and down and have some stressful moments. And maybe I'll have a good stressful moment. I'll just sweat this whole cold out and we'll call it a good day.
There you go. And before the show got started, you were talking about how you couldn't wait to sit down and watch that Titans-Browns game today because of how gritty that game was going to be. So I just want to make sure you got a chance to tell the people how excited you were about that one as well.
Real barn burner. 33.5 spread, real barn burner.
Yeah. Let's get into it. Kevin starts us off. He says, good morning, boys. Omarion Hampton or RJ Harvey?
I'm going Harvey here. I'm not trusting Hampton right off the rip coming back. Vidal's been pretty good for the Chargers. So I think he's still going to get some of the work there. So I'm not going to trust him right off the rip. So I'm going to go with Harvey.
Yeah, it's worth noting that I think at best, Hampton comes back into a 50-50 share, against the Philadelphia Eagles run defense. That's much stouter and much better than the Raiders defense that RJ Harvey gets this week. I know last week I wasn't the biggest RJ Harvey fan, but in this conversation, I'm going to take him over Hampton week one. I do think Hampton obviously gets back to a majority carry share at some point. I just don't think it's going to happen this week.
Kevin also asked, Strange, Waller, or Andrews? I'm
so tired of the Darren Waller thing, Brant.
So you don't want me to
have a good week.
So you don't want me to ask you my start sit question of Darren Waller either?
No.
I think I'm actually going to lean Andrews here. I think I like that middle of the field. I think I like Andrews to find the end zone this week as well. So I think I'm going to go with Andrews.
Yeah, I mean, Darren Waller had 2 really good weeks. Then he got hurt and came back and didn't have a great week. He's tied in 37 on the season, so I'm pretty out on him. I do think I lean Strange at this point, coming off of a pretty good week. Trevor Lawrence possibly having his best week of the season last week. Britton Strange did have his first touchdown of the season last week, 84% of the snaps. I think plus matchup against the Indianapolis Colts in division, I like Britton Strange in that one myself.
Okay.
Frank says Swift, Hunt, or Warren in half-point PPR. need one for the flex. I'm going Jalen Warren in this one, Brant.
Yeah, that's where I was leaning. I'm just looking up a couple things, and I really feel like all their snap shares is right at 50% with all of them. Hunt actually leads it, but he was actually my odd man out because he's not really involved in the pass catching game as much as the other two. I think I also lean Warren there.
Okay. All right.
Kevin says Trevor Lawrence or Jaden Daniels. Daniels gets Minnesota. That's without Parker Washington. I think I lean Trevor Lawrence. I don't think I trust Daniels first week back. I'd like to see what his mobility is going to look like and everything else after that injury. So I think I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence here, who's been coming on really strong.
Yeah, I do like Jaden Daniels this week, but I think Trevor Lawrence had too good of a week last week to ignore. So I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence. Again, very similar to the Hampton versus RJ Harvey question you asked a minute ago, Kevin. I think I'm going to err on the side of caution with the guy that I know has been producing it rather than one that's just coming back. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence over Jaden Daniels. Next week, I'd probably feel more comfortable taking Jaden, but I want to see it one more week.
Michael says Philly defense versus Tampa Bay or BG defense versus Chicago.
So it's the GB Green Bay defense and the Philly defense against the Chargers. I tell you what, if I knew for sure Justin Herbert wasn't going to go, I think Justin Herbert does play. That shies me away from Philly or the Philly defense a little bit. I think I'm leaning Green Bay on this one, Brandon.
Yeah, I think I'm the same. If something comes out before that 1 o'clock slate that Herbert is out, I would pivot. But yeah, I think I would lean Green Bay as well.
Tony says, good morning, fellas. Playing for a first-round bye. Playoffs start next week in my league. I need 2 wide receivers and a flex and PPR. I have Ladd McConkey, Zay Flowers, Michael Wilson, Jaden Higgins, Trevor Etienne, Kyle Monangai.
I'm going with Michael Wilson for sure, with Harrison Jr. missing the time. And so I like him this week. I think I go McConkey. That's another one. If Trevor's out, I don't know how much I trust McConkey. Let's go Wilson, Flowers, even though he was atrocious last week. But let's go with Wilson, Flowers, and I think I go, man, that last one, I'm between McConkey and Monangai there. Although, how did Higgins do with CJ?
5 for 5 for 65 yards.
5 for 5 for 65.
And his last 5 games, he's only had 1 game with less than 5 targets.
Yeah, let's go Flowers, Wilson, and Higgins there.
I'm going Wilson, Higgins, and for me, it's between Ladd and Flowers, but I think I'm actually leaning the Ladd side. Coming off of a negative performance last week with Zay, I'm going with Ladd McConkey over Zay on that one. So I will go Michael Wilson, Zay, or Ladd McConkey, Jaden Higgins.
Okay. Mark comes at us with Andrews or Schultz and half-point PPR, and then he also asked Brissett or Lamar. I can't believe we
Brissett.
Yeah.
Brissett.
I go Brissett as well. I can't believe that we have to bench Lamar. I understand the frustration, Mark. And I think I'm going to go – what did Schultz do? Schultz had a pretty quiet but decent game, did he not?
Yeah, but he's playing a pretty tough tight end matchup here this week. I think Andrews has got the better matchup on that one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to lean Andrews on that one. He did. He had 8 targets, 7 receptions, 55 yards. Little quiet game, but yeah, I think I lean Andrews on that.
Yeah, but just based on matchup, I'm going Andrews as well, Brant. Tony comes at us asking Matt Stafford or Lamar Jackson. Again, I'm shying away from Lamar. He's been bad since he came back. I'm going Stafford.
I'm going Stafford as well. Ronald says, have to sit one. Smith, Wilson, or ETN?
Rolando.
Sorry.
Rolando.
Hey, man.
Third time's the charm. Try one more time.
I'm going to go with ETN. I'm sitting.
Yeah, I'm sitting ETN in that as well. 100%. All right. Bill comes at us with Neal, Jordan Mason, Jones is playing, or Hunt. I'm going with Devin Neal.
I'm going with Neal as well there. I like that matchup there. I like what he's going to bring to the table for the Saints, and they're going to see what they got in him. So Jamie says, morning, fellas. I'm assuming that's a couple questions here. Must win week. Baker or Love? Then at tight end, he's got Strange and Schultz.
I got to go Baker, I think, based on matchup, based on weapons, based on just about every factor. I think I lean Baker over Love on that.
Yeah, I'm going to go with I'm going to lean Baker on that one as well. As for the tight end, I think I go with Strange.
Yeah, I'm pretty all in on Strange this week. Tough matchup for Dalton Schultz. I think he still is involved, but I think Strange has a higher ceiling this week. Zach says, morning, Fatboyz, from another Fat Boy. Good morning, Zach. Jalen Hurts on the road versus the Chargers. Joe Burrow on the road in Buffalo with some snow in the forecast.
I'm going to let you have this one because I am in the same boat in our home league there trying to figure out which one to start. I am leaning Jalen Hurts, but I'd like to hear your side of this one.
Yeah, strangely enough, Jalen Hurts has looked pretty good passing the ball the last couple of weeks. Getting A.J. Brown involved has been nice. Plus, he's got that huge rushing upside. Burrow come back last week, and you could tell he had some visible rust. I think that's probably gone this week. It's always hard to not start the quarterback with a higher projected point total, which in this case happens to be Joe Burrow. It's almost a touchdown different between the two games, but I think I'm slightly leaning Jalen Hurts over Joe Burrows as well as you are, Brant.
Okay. Scott says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Scott. PPR flex. Was that Bailey, A.D. Mitchell, Higgins, Quentin Johnson, Monungai, DK, or Burden? Burden is available.
I'm going to tell you right now, Scott, I have Burden, A.D. Mitchell, and Quentin Johnson on our roster, and I've got Burden in the lineup in that league just to be on the same page. So I expect big things from Luther Burden this week.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Burden this week as well. I do like that matchup especially without Rome. So yeah, I'm going to go with Burden.
Rolando comes back at us, not Ronaldo or Ronald. Rolando comes back at us with a defensive stash for next week. He's got the Niners versus the Titans or Jags versus Jets, both teams at home.
I go with the Niners.
It's got to be, right? I mean, Tyrod Taylor's kind of got that Jets team playing some football right now. And I'm not just saying that because they kicked my Falcons' butt last week. He makes that offense look somewhat competent versus Justin Fields. So I honestly think I'd go with the Niners, where the Titans still don't have this figured out yet. So I think that's where I'm at on this, Brant. You seem to agree. So
Bill says Stafford or Hurts. I think I lean Hurts on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna lean Jalen Hurts on this one here. The rushing upside. He's been passing it and forcing the ball to A.J. Brown, and it's been working. So,
yeah, again, higher implied point total on Stafford's side of this one, and Stafford is not coming back from an injury like Joe Burrow was in this earlier question between the two. I'm going Stafford, and I'm not even it's not even close in my opinion. Stafford has a huge bounce back week after his game last week against the world champion at Carolina Panthers. They beat a lot of good teams this year. I'm going Stafford. I just think that the Rams offense is too explosive. Two of the best wide receivers in football right now, probably the best duo as far as what the two of them are doing right now. I'm 100% in on Stafford over Hurts.
Okay.
Bill follows it up with a defensive question: Washington or the Ravens? Washington.
Yeah, Washington. I definitely lean that one. Alex says, good morning, gentlemen. This is for a playoff spot. Do I start Dobbs with Reed back, Burden with Rome out, or I can pick up A.D. Mitchell if that's a better option? I go with Burden here.
Yep, I'm all in on Luther Burden this week. I think we've started to see the momentum with Luther the last couple of weeks. He's really starting to get going. I think this week, no Rome, which, no offense to all the Rome owners, but Rome hasn't been great recently anyway, kind of since the emergence of Burden. But when you look at the last 3 weeks consecutively, 5, 5, and 6 targets for Luther. So they're starting to make a bigger push to get him involved. I think he's that kind of the gadgety type player that Ben Johnson really looks for when he's drawing up an offense. So I think you're seeing a huge Luther Burden week this week against division rival Green Bay Packers. I think he kind of blows the top off this week. Tony says pick 2, Herbert, Brissett, or what is that? That's
the next one in his next comment. I think it says Tyler
Shuck. Okay.
I go with Herbert and Brissett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to go with the first 2. Again, Brissett's must-start quarterback right now in fantasy. He's throwing the ball too much to sit. So odd to be at that point in the season, but we're there, Brent.
Yep. Ryan says 2 questions PPR. He's got Chase or Smith, and then also his quarterback or Brissett and Herbert. Man, I like Chase Brown this week. I really do. I think I go with Chase Brown, and I think I go with Brissett.
Yep, I agree with you, Brand. That's the 2 I was eyeing. I'm pretty high on Chase Brown this week as well. Also, if you've got Brissett in the lineup, you're trying to play him any chance you can this week. So Zach says he needs 1 full point PPR. He's got Burden with Chicago with Noah Odunze, Troy Franklin versus the Vegas Raiders in a game the Broncos might need to throw much in the second half. So I guess who do you like in this one, Troy Franklin or Luther Burden?
Yeah, give me Luther Burden in this one as well.
Yeah, I'm not shying away from him just yet either. I'm going Luther Burden as well.
Jennifer says, Bam, Watson, or Hunt?
I got to go Christian Watson.
Yeah, 10 target, 5, 7, and 10 over his last 3 weeks. Yeah, I think I go with Christian Watson as well.
Bidwan on X comes at us with half-point PPR. Pick 2, Kyle Monongai, Chris Godwin, Blake Corum, Marion Hampton, or Kamani Vidal, Brant. I'm pretty high on the 2 that I'm going to pick. If you want me to go first, that can maybe help it.
Yeah, go ahead, because I'm kind of trying away from those last 2.
I'm 100% in on Chris Godwin this week. Still no Mike Evans back just yet. Getting closer, but I like Chris Godwin. And then Blake Corum is my pick there because the Rams coaching staff has come out and said, hey, we're going to take it easy on Kyron in the last couple of weeks. You're going to see a more Blake Corum share. We want Kyron Williams healthy for the playoff push. I think Blake Corum has a 50% or better snap share these last couple of weeks starting today. And you and I are doing something new on the show this week where we're picking a touchdown scorer in every game. I've got Blake Corum as my touchdown scorer in that contest. So I'm all in on Blake this week.
I'll go. I'm going to stick with that. Mine was the first three names. I'm kind of out on that Chargers backfield this week because I'd like to see how it shakes out. So yeah, I think I go with Godwin and Corum as well.
Okay, all right.
Jennifer says Sutton, Myers, Etienne, or Watson. I go with Watson again on this one.
I think I lean Jacoby Myers without Parker Washington. I think he's really been kind of heavily involved in that pass catching game. I think Trevor Lawrence is starting to really ball out a little bit. I do like Watson a decent amount too, but I'd like to know where Jalen Johnson's going to be for that Chicago Bears secondary. If he slides with Watson, I think that scares me a little bit. So I'm going Jacoby Myers.
Okay.
This question's asked a second time. Dan says, Devon Vele, Luther Burden, or Darren Waller in DFS play, Brant?
I think I go Burden because that should be a pretty good discount on price too as well. So I think I go with Burden.
I'm not sure that'd be cheaper than Devon Vele. And I'm thinking Vele is probably a cheaper option with a higher ceiling. He had 8 receptions last week, 93 yards and a touchdown against Miami. Of course, there still is Chris Olave.
That is a game they're probably going to – he says they're all the same price basically. I honestly, after you telling me how many targets he actually had, I think I'm going to lean Vele there in a game that they could be trailing for a while.
I was getting ready to switch my vote up to Burden. Yeah, I'll stick with Devon Vele again. I think just coming off of the contest he had last week, I'll say he's the clear number 2, I think, in that offense behind Chris Olave. Tyler Shuck seems to have a pretty good connection with him. The Buccaneers secondary is going to be hyper-focused on Chris Olave. Should leave some work for Devon Vele to be done. So I'll go Vele as well, Brant.
Okay. Ryan says, good morning, guys. PPR. Need 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, and a flex. The running backs are Genty, Warren, Jones. Go with their 2 running backs first, and then we'll get into the second part of this. I think I go Aaron Jones and I think I go Warren and Jones on this one.
I'm completely disagreeing with you, Brant. I want no part of Aaron Jones. I'm going Genty, who's catching a ton of passes out of the backfield right now. Genty's kind of making himself fantasy relevant just on the pass catching game alone. When you look at his last 3 contests, he's had 8 targets in all 3 of his last games, Brant. So PPR wise, that makes me take Genty. So I'm going Genty and Jalen Warren on the running back side of it.
Okay. And the wide receivers are Metcalf, A.D. Mitchell, or Burden.
Needs one of those. I'm going Burden.
Yeah, I go Burden here, and then he needs a flex. I'll put Genty in my flex there. I'll take all 3 running backs.
I'm leaning towards DK Metcalf at my flex. Adonai Mitchell is so intriguing to me. I was a huge fan of his coming into the league. I loved him in Indy. Then he got traded, finally blew up. And, of course, I had to watch that front row and center last week. But he's got such a drop issue. I think I have to go with DK Metcalf again. Jordan Mason scares me a little bit. The volatility of the Vikings offense scares me a lot when it comes to Aaron Jones. I just can't get myself on board with him this week. Commanders are pretty susceptible against the run, but I feel like Jordan Mason's a little bit better between the tackles. So I just can't get on board with Aaron Jones.
Okay.
Rob says he needs 3 from Brian Thomas Jr., Adonai Mitchell, DK Metcalf, and Luther Burden.
I'm leaving Metcalf off my list there. So I'm taking BTJ, Mitchell, and Burden.
Okay. I'm going to go BTJ, Metcalf, and Burden again. Like I said, Mitchell's coming off of one game in his career where he's had any success. I'm rooting for it to be a continued thing. I just don't believe in it at this point. So I'm going to go with him on my bench.
Okay. Rob says Debo, Kincaid, Monangai, Mitchell, or Pierce. Start 3 PPR. I think I go Debo. I think I go Pierce for my second one.
I was looking Pierce up as well. I feel like he's hard to sit. And he's just taking the top off of defenses.
Yeah, and that's a pretty decent matchup for him. So, yeah, I think I go with Pierce as my 2.
I'm going Debo, Monangai, and Pierce, Brant.
Yeah, that's where I think I'm at with that. I don't know if I trust Kincaid to play a whole game or even if he will play. I know he's questionable. So, yeah, I think I go with Debo, Monangai, and Pierce.
Okay. All right. Megan comes at us with DK Metcalf or DJ Moore for my wide receiver 2 in PPR.
I'm so out on DK this year. It's been so bad to watch and so bad to own.
I feel like it's DJ Moore anyway without Rome, probably, isn't it? I mean,
Yep.
I know we're taking a lot of Luther Burden shares so far this week, but I still feel like DJ Moore is going to have plenty to go around as well.
Yeah, I think I'd take DJ Moore as well.
Okay.
David comes at us with Bucky or Chase Brown. I think I
both of these, David. I really do.
I do too. I think I slightly lean Bucky in this one.
I lean slightly Chase Brown. I'll talk about that a little later on in the show, but I expect pretty good work for Chase Brown this week. So
Okay.
I'm slightly leaning him. He's got Samaje Perine barking down his tree, whereas Bucky's got Rashad White and Sean Tucker, who both did pretty well in his absence. Going to get some work for sure. So I'm leaning Chase Brown. Joe comes at us with PPR Burden, Kareem Hunt, Chris Rodriguez, Dallas Goedert, or Devon Bailey.
I think I stick with Burden on this one. I think I stick with our gut, and I think I stick with Burden.
We both just chose Bailey over Burden for DFS. I think I'm leaning. Man, I think I'm leaning Bailey again. I'm gonna go Bailey, I think, Brant, by the slightest of margins, just because I think he's got a chance for potentially more targets than I think we see out of Burden. I think Burden has a good game, but I don't think he has as much opportunity for a big game as Bailey has.
Okay.
All right. We got a gap here in questions. Let's get into these underdog plays of the week.
All right. Sounds good.
All right, Brent, let's talk about these underdog plays. You and I have both had some pretty decent little success over the last couple of weeks. Let's see if we can't share this with some folks.
Okay. I do have 2 unders on mine. I'll hit those last. But I got Baker Mayfield to go higher than 1.5 passing touchdowns. Excuse me. I think he throws the ball, and I think he finds the end zone quite a bit today against that Saints team. Then I got Michael Wilson with no Marvin Harrison Jr. I got him to go higher than 5.5 receptions. I think he'll be a focal point, him and McBride, of that passing game in a game where they can trail quite a bit and have to throw the ball. Then I got Patrick Mahomes higher than 4.5 rush attempts. I think this is a game we saw Houston's defense get after Josh Allen. I think Mahomes is going to find some scrambling attempts. So I think that, and if they're in the lead, the rush attempts also count when you take a knee at the end of the game. So you might be able to get one of those late in the game to pass it up. So I'm going to take Mahomes for higher than 4.5 rush attempts. Your Falcons defense has actually held a lot of quarterbacks underneath this line. So I'm taking Sam Darnold to go lower than 29.5 pass attempts this week. I think that they try to lean on the run game a little bit more, and that they don't have to throw the ball as much. So I'm going to take him under 29.5 pass attempts. And then Tua, playing in the cold weather, is never all that great. I'm going Tua lower than 214.5 passing yards.
Okay. All right. I'm starting mine off. I've got nothing but hires, get full gas, no break. I've got Jonathan Taylor higher than 114.5 rushing and receiving yards. Kind of had a couple slow weeks in a row here. I think we're looking for a huge bounce back week for Jonathan Taylor. And I think he gets there today. Devin Neal higher than 17.5 receiving yards. He's been over that in both games. He's been featured as a starter for the New Orleans Saints. I think he gets that done pretty early in this contest. We did talk about this guy a lot today, and neither one of us have picked him much. I do have Adonai Mitchell higher than 3.5 receptions. When you look at what his target share has been like, he's going to have the opportunity. It's just whether or not he hangs onto the ball, which has been a big question mark for him in his career to this point. So we'll see if he gets that done. I do have Caleb Williams higher than 193.5 passing yards, which makes me feel pretty good because we have both taken a lot of Luther Burden shares. I think Caleb Williams gets that done in a nitty-gritty contest between the probably one of the biggest rivalries in all of football. And then last but not least, I had to get a line in somewhere on this contest. I had Chase Brown higher than 72.5 rushing and receiving yards. Again, when you look at the line in this contest and you look at what his usage has been like this season, I think this is something would not shock me to see Chase Brown go over 100 all-purpose in this contest. So I think when you look at a line of 72.5 for him and what he's done this season, I think that's just too easily attainable for him. So I've got him hitting that pretty early in this contest, Brant.
Okay. All right.
All right. Got some questions rolling in here again. We'll get back into our touchdowns here in a little bit.
You got Ryan asked, which defense would you play, Buccaneers or Chiefs? I think I'd go with the Bucs here.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree. I'm starting the Buccaneers in just about every league that I've picked them up in. Brian says Kenneth Gainwell at Baltimore or Samaje Perine at Pittsburgh and PPR.
I'd go with Gainwell here. He's been featured quite a bit. He's been pretty good to be able to put in your flex all year. So I think I'd go with Gainwell.
Yeah, again, Mike Tomlin's come out and said he wants that Steelers to get back to that nitty-gritty run of the football. So I think you see plenty of both of Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren this week. So I like Gainwell as well.
Yeah. David asked, Hampton or Marks?
This is the one time I'm going to pick Hampton this week. I'm not a Marks guy. I'm just not there, Brant.
Yeah, I think I got to lean Hampton on that as well. I got Marks on my bench and everywhere I own him, which is quite a bit. So I think I go with Hampton.
Okay. All right. Let's get into these touchdown scores. What do you got this week, Brant? And you said before we put this out there too, I want to let everybody know we got the odds. You said yours is at plus 1,900, right?
Yep, plus 1,900 on FanDuel. I have not a whole lot of risk, but all of them except for one was plus. I got A-Chain to find the end zone in a pretty good matchup for him this week. I got Jefferson to find the end zone. I think that they try to force feed him the ball this week, and I think he finds the end zone. I got McBride with no Marvin Harrison. I do like Wilson to move the ball, but I like McBride when they get down there. And then I got Rashee Rice to find the end zone this week as well. I think that's his go-to guy, and Rice is one of those guys that can break one off. He can be your guy in the red zone. He's just a good receiver for Patrick Mahomes to have, and he looks for him everywhere on the field.
Yeah, I like those as well, Brant. Now, you ready for mine? Mine is plus 9,500. So if you have some pocket change left on the account that you want to get rid of and maybe potentially make it into a lot bigger than what it is, mine does have 3 guys featured in plus money, and three of these guys being as rookies this week. So starting off strong, I've got Quinshon Judkins in a nitty-gritty, ugly contest that Brand is super excited to watch there between the Browns and the Titans. I have Jaylen Warren, who I'm shocked was plus money to score a touchdown for the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Baltimore Ravens this week. And then this is where it kind of gets interesting. Brant, you and I have been all over this guy all day today, so I think you'll probably be right there with me on this one. I've got Luther Burden to score a touchdown for the Chicago Bears this week. And then last but not least, I've got Mason Taylor for the Jets. Definitely one of Tyrod's guys last week when the play broke down. Definitely somebody he looked for in the goal line, just didn't get it done last week. I think Mason Taylor finds pay dirt this week for the New York Jets again, plus 9,500 there.
I like that because I actually originally did have Mason Taylor as well in mind, but I didn't want to have 2 guys in the same game with me having A-Chain. So I kind of faded that a little bit. So I do like that as well. I actually, as we talked about, maybe talking about a touchdown scorer from every single game and seeing if anybody wants to ride that wishing well with us. I actually have Judkins in that Cleveland game. So I absolutely do like your touchdown scorers this week.
Okay, well, I imagine we'll talk about those touchdown scores in each contest here in just a few minutes, but let's get back and get this question from Michael. I don't want it to go unanswered here. Michael says, Caleb Williams or Sam Darnold this week?
I go with Caleb here. Like I said, I don't expect Seattle to have to throw the ball much, man. I really do think that they're going to force feed JSN to get him back on a roll, but I do think I lean Caleb just a little bit.
Yeah, I listen, the Seahawks are going to come in and they're going to come into Atlanta and they're going to get a win today. I just don't think it happens with Sam Darnold. I think that Sam Darnold's one of the more sacked quarterbacks in the league. The Atlanta Falcons are top 5 in quarterback pressures this week. I think that's a recipe for disaster for Sam Darnold. I do think there'll be some broken JSN plays inevitably. So I think they will win the contest, but I think Caleb Williams has a better day as the quarterback between these two. We're not even going to answer the questions from your dad, Brant, or put it on the screen. It ain't happening.
Took him 14 weeks to figure out how to get on here or wake up in time. But there you go. He wants to make sure it's the week that we play your Falcons. I like this one.
Mm-hmm.
Fantasy Inc. says, if you're eliminated from playoffs this year, who's your favorite buy low for 2026?
Yeah, I've got one that's screaming at me right now. Oh, I've got 3 that I want to bring up here because Brant and I we're such degenerates that I'm probably in more fantasy leagues than I should be, and of course they're all dynasty by nature, except for the one vampire we do with a bunch of guys from our work. But I've got 3 guys that I'm buying in on as cheap as possible right now. My number 1 favorite is a guy that I was in love with coming into this draft process that didn't hit, and that's Caleb Johnson. I still think the future is bright for Caleb. Sometimes we see these running backs come into the league and it takes them a little while to gain that head of steam. But I'm 100% in on him. The other 2 being Cam Scatabo and Travis Hunter. These guys are guys that are injured. If there's a team that's pushing for playoffs, you might be able to buy them cheaper than what they ought to be, and that you can look into next year. Brant and I have rostered both of those guys in a couple leagues that we own together and have moved some of those guys for pieces to contend. So I think if those players are on contending rosters, you can get them for cheap. But those are my 3 favorites.
I do not have 3. Unfortunately, I do have 1, and that's Braylon Allen of the Jets. I think you see Breece Hall move on this offseason. I think Braylon becomes a featured back. He's still young as can be. He's on the IR. We saw some explosive plays from him at the times he was on the field. So I think Braylon Allen's a guy that you could be looking at to get really cheap this offseason or during the rest of this year.
Okay. Brian says gross flex decision this week. Full point PPR. He's got Bam night at home versus the Rams or Charbonnet at Atlanta. I'm going Charbs, Brant.
Yeah, I think I lean on Charbonnet as well, just a little bit. I think Bam's going to be featured again, but I do think I like Charbonnet.
Yeah, when you talk about run defenses, the Rams' run defense is one of the better ones in the league. I think Atlanta will struggle with a big body back like Charbonnet this week, so I think I lean Charbonnet.
Okay. Bill says any wide receiver sleepers that you would be on waiver to start this week? I have Addison or Reed. Not confident in those two.
Yeah, I honestly potentially Adonai Mitchell, Jonathan Mechie, Devon Vele, Luther Burden. Those guys could all potentially be out there. I think all of those guys have intriguing upside this week. If any of those guys are out there, Bill, those are guys that I'm looking at. I've got one league here that I have pretty short benches in. Let me go take a look at what wide receivers are available in that league because I'm imagining there's a few.
That's what I'm looking up as well. Pat Bryant is one that I like this week as well.
Shamir Dyke, if he's out there for your league, I like him this week as well. I like him all season, honestly. Another one that I think is cheeky, it's a cheeky play, is David Sills. He's 29 years of age, but for the Atlanta Falcons in back-to-back weeks, he's caught a touchdown pass from Kirk Cousins. So that's one of those guys that kind of just gets lost out on the field. So
this one says he's only rostered in 20% of leagues, and that's Hollywood Brown could be a sneaky play this week just to find the end zone in that game. But yeah, I think there's plenty of guys out there that you can pivot to. Like I said, I have Brown, and I think Pat Bryant's in for a pretty decent week as well.
Yeah, Pat Bryant coming out of the bye week is definitely looks to be one of Bo Nix's potential targets. So that'd be one I'd consider looking at pretty healthily there if he's available in your leagues. All right, Brant, let's do this. It's a first time for us on this show. Let's go through and talk about some of our favorite touchdown scorers. We'll go game by game here. Where do you want to start at?
On my list here that I print off every week, the first game is Seattle versus at Atlanta. I have JSN to find the end zone, probably pretty quick. Trying to find him in the open field and move it as fast as possible, and hopefully get the offense clicking again. So I do have JSN.
I have Bijan Robinson in that contest. He's kind of the entire offense for the Atlanta Falcons at this point, coming off of almost 200 yards of all-purpose last week. I think he gets there this week. So, all right, where are you at next?
I had to get to 7 games of putting these guys in just to look at the odds to even get close to your odds, to actually surpass your odds on your 4. The next one I have Tennessee at Cleveland in that barn burner of a game, and I already talked about it. I've got Judkins to find the end zone if anybody does.
Yeah, I also have Judkins in that one, Brand.
Let's hit this receiver before we get to this, or this question before we get to the next game. Michael says pick 2: Swift, Watson, Jones, or BTJ. I think I go Watson, and I think I go BTJ on this one. Watson and BTJ.
Yep, I'm in agreement. Watson and BTJ for me as well. Yep.
Okay. Next game on tap: Chicago at Green Bay. Who do you have there?
I have Luther Burden, obviously, as I mentioned in my my touchdown parlay for the week.
I think Loveland finds the end zone.
Okay.
All right. Next up, I got Washington at Minnesota. I have.
Yep, go ahead.
I have Jettas to find the end zone, as I spoke about earlier.
I have Scary Terry.
Okay, I like that play there. Let's see. Next one is Miami and the Jets.
Brees Hall.
Brees Hall. That's where I'm at as well. I'm at the Jets. Let's see. New Orleans at Tampa Bay.
Bucky Irving.
Abuka.
Okay.
Next one is Indy at Jacksonville.
Jonathan Taylor.
ETN. Pittsburgh at Baltimore.
Jalen Warren.
Zay Flowers, since he burnt us last week.
Okay.
Denver at Vegas.
I've got Evan Ingram in that contest, Brant.
Pat Bryant finds the end zone. Cincy at Buffalo.
James Cook.
Snow on the ground. Got to go James Cook. Rams at Arizona.
Blake Corum.
Puka Nacua.
Love that.
Houston at Kansas City. I've already spoken mine. It's Rice.
We have the same one in that contest.
And the Monday night game. Philly at LA.
Keenan Allen.
Lad McConkey.
Okay. All right. These questions. Andres said, need one in flex PPR, BTJ or Luther Burden?
I'm going to lean on Burden there.
I'm going Burden. Yep.
Dave says needs one. Pacheco, Spears, or Bam Knight. I'm going with Bam on this one here.
I will go Tajay Spears.
Okay.
Catches too many passes at the backfield. I'm going Tajay. Michelle says Michael Pittman or Keenan Allen. I will go Keenan Allen.
I will go Keenan Allen in that one as well. Joe says Tampa or Bengals kicker. I think
Chase
I go with
McLaughlin versus Evan McPherson.
I think I go with Tampa. Weather, everything else. I think I'm going to go with Tampa. Warmer weather should be a better conditions to kick in. So
I'm going to go Evan McPherson. Last time I chose Evan, he had a huge game. I'm going to stick with that. Jeff says, good morning. I need spots. I have Mason and thought Jones might be out. So Mason, Tajay Spears, Ty Johnson, and Samaje Perine on the waivers.
I'm going to go with Spears on this one.
Yep, Tajay catches too many passes out of the backfield. He's close to 50% snap share as well with Tony Pollard. I'm going Tajay Spears. All right, Brant, who's running back one on the week for you this week?
I think I'm going to go with Breece Hall being running back one. I think he gets quite a few catches, quite a bit of work against Miami. So I'm going to go with Breece Hall.
Yeah, I'm doubling down on the one I had last week. I'm going Bijan. I think he's the entire offense for the Atlanta Falcons. If they're going to have any chance to keep this contest close today against your Seattle Seahawks, it's going to have to be a lot of Bijan. And again, he's the 100% recipe for success at Atlanta. So that's where I'm at on running back. How about wide receiver, Brant?
I'm going to go with Puka Nacua. I'm not even going to be cute. I'm going to go with Puka Nacua.
I've got Rashee Rice for the Kansas City Chiefs as my wide receiver one this week.
I'm glad I didn't go that route there. I got to help you out a little bit because that's the second one I was looking at.
All right, who you got for tight end one?
This is a tough one here. Let's go, Mason. Nope, I already picked Bijan. Can't pick two in this. Took Breeze. Can't go two in the same game. Let's go. Man, this is tough. Let's go, Brock Bowers. I won't even be cute. Denver's going to get after it, get after Vegas. So I think Bowers is going to be a safety valve. Let's go, Brock Bowers.
Well, I had Mason Taylor written because I didn't think there was any chance you'd let me get this one, but I'm going to go Trey McBride with no Marvin Harrison. So I'll take Trey McBride. Last week I went Brock Bowers. I think he was right there. I think Trey McBride beat him by like 0.2 of a point. So I'm going to go with Trey this week. Ooh, throwing my phone here as I'm going to start pulling up and getting ready for the injury news that's going to come out. Who do you have that you're keeping an eye on this week for injuries, Brant?
Let's see. We had I'll just go with what I got here. You want to hit this question real fast before I do? I got
Sure.
Ryan coming at us. He needs one for PPR. Waller, Goddard, or Spears. I really like Spears coming out of the backfield. I think I lean Spears just by a little bit.
Dave comes at us with needs a flex PPR, Kyle Monongai, Juwan Jennings, or Omarion Hampton. I think I'm going to go with Monongai in that one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Monongai as well. Paul says, morning, guys. Who are your two favorite stashes for the playoffs? I nabbed Mitchell from the Jets and Bryant from the Broncos as possible stashes. I like both of those as stashes for the playoff pushes. And then, like you alluded to, Mechie's another good one.
Mason Taylor at tight end. I think he's probably available in quite a few leagues still at this point. He's another one that I like a lot for playoffs.
Absolutely. I would say Waller, but he'll probably get hurt this week since he can only play 2 weeks and then has to be out.
I will add it's worth noting, though, when you look at playoff pushes and you talk about Adonai Mitchell and Jonathan Mechie, it is projected anyway Garrett Wilson could be back as early as next week. So that is something that's worth noting and potentially keeping an eye on as well. So Jennifer asks, who do we have to win today, Indy or the Jags?
I got the Jags to win. I think that's what I picked. I think I took the Jags to win this week, so I got the Jags.
I'm sticking with the Colts.
Okay. Jeff says, okay, I need flex help also. I have Waller and DK. Concerned about DK mainly. On bench, he has Iamore, Mechie, Johnston, Bryant, and Likely. Would you switch any out for DK?
If I was, I think I'm mainly looking at Pat Bryant.
That's what I'm looking at, but I think I got to stick with DK on this one.
I got to look at Pat. Last 2 games for Pat Bryant, 6 targets, 7 targets. Going against a susceptible defense in Vegas. But I don't. How much throwing are they going to have to do this week? I'll go with DK just because I don't expect it to be a game where the Broncos have to throw the ball 30 times. I'll stick with DK. Let's see. Kevin says Kyle Monongai or RJ Harvey.
I'm going to go with Harvey on this one.
I will go with Monongai. I'm not a huge Harvey guy. I know it's getting harder and harder to ignore because he's finding the end zone without J.K. Dobbins, but I'm just not that interested in R.J. Harvey at this point in the season, Brant.
Okay. So your injuries out there, as we all know, Drake London's out for the Falcons. The Jags have Parker Washington as doubtful. He is listed as questionable. While we're talking about injuries, before I get too much in this and forget, it sounds like Kyler Murray is going to miss the remainder of the season with his foot. It doesn't sound like the Arizona is even going to attempt to bring him back. You got for Washington, you have Daniels is back under center, and you have Noah Brown getting a questionable tag and trending towards playing. New Orleans, you have AK out, and you have Chris Olave is questionable but trending towards playing. Buccaneers, you have Mike Evans is out, and I think McMillan is actually questionable and trending towards possibly playing this week. The Bills have Palmer as doubtful, and Kincaid is questionable. The Bears have Roman Dunze out. Green Bay has Reed and Golden both listed as questionable. I think they're both trending towards playing. The Rams have Tutu Atwell listed as questionable. Don't think he's much of a fantasy player right now, but he is listed as questionable. Arizona, you have Benson, DeMarcado, and Harrison Jr. all listed as out. So you got Carter and Bam Knight handling that backfield duties again. And then the Chargers have Hampton and Herbert both listed as questionable. There's not a whole lot of injuries this week, which we kind of like. But yeah, there are some big names that are listed as questionable, but I think most of them are trending towards playing.
Mm-hmm. We should get more on that in about 5 minutes here, Bran, as we edge closer and closer to that 11:30 news before kickoff starts to roll in. So let's answer a few more questions and we'll see where we're at.
Charlie says, start 2 QBs, Indiana Jones, Baker, JD5, or T-Law. I'm going with Baker and T-Law here.
Usually when I get into these quarterback situations, Bran, I like to look at who's playing inside, who's playing indoors, and what their lines are. A little nervous about Jaden Daniels, his first game back. So I think he's probably my odd man out here. Daniel Jones is playing through that injury, but he's got a higher projected point total than T-Law does. So I think I go Baker and Daniel Jones. I think T-Law's coming off probably his best game of the season. I just think the better weapons side of the ball is in Indy. I mean,
I don't hate it. I just I think it's going to, like you said, I think it's going to be a lot of Taylor this week. So I don't know how much Jones is going to have to throw.
Okay.
Kincaid is officially active. Let me go ahead and put that out as it did just come across the TV screen there. And then Jeff asked, would you stay with Spears if Carter is available? Yes, I would.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not moving Tajay for Michael Carter.
Let's hop over here and see if the inactives are coming out.
The only thing I see on X is just that news on Kincaid. Jaden Daniels will play, or Jaden Reed will play 100%. There's huge optimism regarding Justin Herbert. No Jalen Carter for Philly on Monday night does make Omarion Hampton a little bit more intriguing.
Yes, that does.
I didn't realize Rome was out with stress fracture. Does that potentially spell multiple weeks for Rome?
I think so. I do believe so. Got a question here. We got a couple questions rolling in. Matt comes at us with Aaron Jones or Charbonnet.
Charbonnet.
Okay. I also lean Charbonnet just by a little bit there.
Let's see. Gerardo comes at us with Kyle Monangai or Devin Neal, and then Jaden Higgins or Ladd.
I go with Neal on this one, and I think I lean.
I'm going Neal and Ladd.
Yeah, I think I lean Ladd too. Unless we get more updates on Herbert being out, I think I go with Neal and Ladd.
We are just a few short minutes away from some of these teams starting to report.
Reed is expected to return, which I think I already did say. Herbert is trending towards playing. That just came across.
Those are the two I just hit.
Okay.
Washington Commanders, nobody of note. Parker Washington officially out. No backup tight end Johnny Munt for the Jaguars.
Nothing for the Browns to note. Theirs just came out about 30 seconds ago.
Tristan Wirfs is kind of a big name for the Buccaneers out. Starting left tackle.
Yes.
Saints, no Talise Fuanga, no Alvin Kamara. Like you said, Brant, there's not a whole lot of huge names coming out here. All these teams are just now starting to report, so we'll keep an eye on that.
We got Matthew asking Vele or Burden PPR. You still leaning with the?
I'm still leaning. We've had this one too many times. I think I'm leaning Vele slightly on this one.
I know I said it for DFS to go Vele, but then I went back and looked at the price, and Burden's actually a little cheaper. So I'm actually going to lean. I'm going to stick with Burden.
Okay.
I figured Vele would have been cheaper than Burden, but he was not.
Scott says highest upside today. Devon Vele, Adonai Mitchell, or Jaden Higgins. Burden's still available. I'm leaning AD, it's going to be close. I would say highest upside is Adonai Mitchell. That would be the highest ceiling play out of all those names. You need to find a way to get Burden if he's out there, though, because I do like Burden. But highest upside today is Adonai Mitchell, in my opinion.
I as well. I am agreeing with you as well. Marty says, Allen or Burrow in the snow or Brissett? I don't think I can bench Allen. I know he's had some down weeks, but I don't think I bench him. Man, Brissett.
Yeah, I believe I still think Allen's QB1. I'm not going to get quite that cute with it, so I will go Allen.
Burden. Brissett throwing the ball 40 times a game, though, is very intriguing, so I absolutely can understand it.
100%. Chris Olave is active real quick before we jump into this next question from Michael. He says Browns or Bucks for defense, and then Aaron Jones or Swift. I think I go Browns defense against Cam Ward.
Yep, I go the Browns, and I think I'm
going Swift off of his game last week.
Yeah, I think I go with Swift too. I think that the Bears are realizing that we got to get them going to get the game going. So I'll go with Swift as well. Kincaid is officially a go, and Palmer is officially inactive. Alex asked, Gainwell or Marks or Manungai, half-point PPR. I think I go with Gainwell here.
I'm going to go Manungai.
Okay.
Jeff says, desperate times, need a flex, half-point PPR, Jordan Addison versus Pittsburgh, Spears, or take a free agent flyer on Downs, Vele, Burden, or Chubb. I picked up Tesla, but benched him last minute, and of course he would have given me a respectable 9 points. I honestly like Vele and Burden better than I like either of Spears or Addison this week. So whichever one of those you're more comfortable with, but I think both of those guys have better ceilings this week than Addison and Spears.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that one. I'm going with you said Vele and Burden, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either one of those would be my guy.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Scott asked if he should drop QJ for the Eagles defense next week or Bears D. Let's slide over here and see who each one plays. Eagles is pretty easy for me to find since I own 75% of their roster on my Dynasty League. They play the Raiders, so they're guaranteed to get an interception.
Bears have the Browns next week. So, yeah, I'd probably go Eagles D.
Yep, I'll take the Eagles D on that one. Cooper Rush and Walker are inactive for the Ravens. Not that that's a big note.
Kind of waiting to see anything from our game. Oh, there it is right there. No Jalen Milroe, no Shaquille Griffin. I didn't even know Cam Akers was on your roster.
Yeah, we picked him up. He was on the practice squad with Walker being banged up all week. He got pulled up, and then obviously that's why he's inactive.
Matthew says Matthew says crazy that we're here, but would you start Harvey over Barkley? No, I would not.
No, absolutely not. All right, our defense is getting back. We're getting love back on defense, so that makes me happy there. Ernest Jones is back. This is just me talking to myself, being extremely excited that we're finally getting healthy right as this playoff push starts.
Adam Thielen active for the Steelers today. That's interesting of note.
I like that. I like that signing there. They needed another guy, and I think that he could be very respectable for Aaron Rodgers to lean on a little bit. So I do like that one there. Over here on the NFL Network, they got Caleb Williams reading bad tweets about the Bears. I wonder if we might see one we might have heard from one of our good buddies.
Yeah, good buddy, pretty loosely. Just not. I mean, it's great for fantasy. There's just not a whole lot of inactives from players that mean anything today, which is good.
Ryan is coming at us with, click the wrong button there. There we go. Warner Jones PPR. Excuse me.
Jalen Warren. I like Jalen Warren a lot this week.
I go Warren on that one, and then he needs a flex between Metcalf, Mitchell, or Burden. I'm going with Burden here. I almost said Mitchell, but I'm going Burden.
I've got my chips pushed in on the table with Luther Burden this week. Diehard Mizzou Tigers fan, so followed him in college. Was super sad to see him slide, but he fell into one of the best spots potentially. And we've all kind of said as soon as DJ Moore is on the road next year, it's his time to shine. However, no Rome Odunze this week may have the same effect. So I like Luther Burden this week.
Oh, and then my dad just messaged me, and Akers will probably be our third running back on the roster for the majority of the year, as our backup just went to the IR.
Got a question from Jonathan. He says, got to win this week with Odunze out. So we fired up DJ Moore or pick up Luther Burden.
I think I go Burden here.
Yeah, I lean Burden as well. I think DJ Moore could have a good game as well. But I think, again, when you talk about ceiling plays, I think it's the sky's the limit for Luther Burden this week.
Flex Swift, Sutton, or Smith here?
I don't hate any of these this week, but I think I'm going to lean Swift.
Yeah, I think I'll lean Swift on there.
Follows it up with Ravens or Titans defense this week.
I think I go with the Ravens.
I'm going to go Titans. They're less likely to get you burned, and there's a chance Shadur throws an interception. I just don't see either offense in that game putting up any kind of crazy points. So they're probably a little safety squeeze type of play there.
MVS is that MVS active for the Steelers as well?
Correct. Yep.
And Roman Wilson is inactive. Wow. Okay.
Which him being inactive is what gave room for Thielen and
right.
Mark Harrison to play today. So
just that was all my updates there. Yeah, everybody is talking about that. That's a question. I mean, good for them. Let's give them a shot. It can't be any worse than what it has been.
No, it really, it definitely cannot be. Well, maybe we'll see less DK Metcalf today than what we need to.
I think we've already seen less DK Metcalf.
That's true. That's very true, Brant. Very true.
So, well, let's hit this real fast while we wait on a few more. What's on your menu today?
Me and the little man are going to have the house to ourselves this afternoon. The girls, due to sickness and weather, are finally all getting out to go see Wicked 2. So me and little man are going to have the house to ourselves. So we've got some went to Walmart last night to get a few last minute things. And we got some pizza. We got some, we're going to have like a little boys charcuterie board type of deal going on today. A little salami, some cheese, some crackers, some stuff like that. And then I think the wife's bringing picking up and bringing food home after the movie, so I don't know what that's going to entail for dinner yet. But we'll have to see when she sends me the text of what I'm getting to eat.
Go get you some more Grinch socks.
I've got plenty.
I've got a pair finally. They're all sold out around here, so I had to go find somewhere else. Mine is this afternoon. Unfortunately, we do have an event that we have to go attend. Not one that we really want to, but so I won't be home this afternoon. But we will have a baked potato bar for this evening. My wife likes to put them in the crock pot and just let them sit there and cook all day. And then you just get out there and you got everything else laid out and you just eat you some baked potatoes and we'll enjoy these afternoon slate and Sunday night games with those.
Question: do you eat the skin or not?
Absolutely. I eat it like a sandwich.
All right. Me too. All right.
It's always easier.
Right. Fantasy Inc. says, who's your 1-1 in 2026 redraft? To me, I think it's a two. Well, I guess there's three names. It's a running back for sure, in my opinion, but I think it's Jonathan Taylor, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson. It's one of those three names. It's kind of pick your preference, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd put Chase in there too, but you can't keep Burrow healthy and all that. So I don't know if I can. So yeah, I think it's a 3-man race. And right now I'd probably lean Gibbs.
Okay.
Kevin says, who wins the oldest rivalry in the NFL today, Bears or Packers? I'm going with the Packers. I'm rooting for a tie.
Yeah, Brant and I are in the heart of Bear/Packer country. We're surrounded by both, and both fan bases are pretty obnoxious. I will say that I picked the Bears this week in our little office pick 'em we got at work. That's kind of where I'm still leaning. But I do think this is going to be a pretty good contest. Wouldn't surprise me with either team walking away victorious with the last second field goal. So I will go Bears though. Adam asks, Chris Godwin or Emeka Egbuka and half-point PPR. I do like Godwin this week, but I still think Emeka is probably the alpha in that offense at this point. It'd be interesting to see if it changes when Mike Evans comes back, but I do think it's probably Egbuka in this one.
Yeah, I think I lean Egbuka as well.
Okay. All right. I know we got about 15 minutes left, but Brant, you do have an event you got to get yourself ready for. I know you don't want to put too much information out about that, but we're probably going to sign off a few minutes early here, guys. If anybody's got any last minute questions, go ahead and slide them into us now. But otherwise, jump on the Fantasyholics Facebook page, get your questions answered there. If you didn't get them in with us in time, again, with respect to Brant, what he's got going on today, we're going to sign off a few minutes early so we can get his affairs in order this morning.
Thanks for joining in today. Next week, we'll keep you posted. We may have to switch up the times a little bit as we do have some events planned. So we may have to switch up the time and possibly some of the faces, but we will be live next week. Join us Wednesday night as well as we do our normal show. And as always, stay hungry.
Stay fat, my friends.